Good morning. So, I wanted to do a little bit of a quick critique, just a couple minutes here, on some of the very cringy old photos that I dug out from my photo album. I have a plethora of photos of me and my horses over the years. Unfortunately, lots of them are very preventable. Unfortunately, I have never gotten a video of me falling off, and I've fallen off 14 times, I believe. So, in almost 20 years, that's not horrible considering I was in jumping, and as you will see, jumping very badly for a very long time. So, to get to why I have so many cringy photos, long story short, my horse was very, very green, had never jumped, and I was very green. And the saying is true that green on green makes black on blue. We were a rough pair. I didn't necessarily always have great instruction. I would definitely do things differently. I'm not here to hate on anybody. I would personally, as an instructor, I would choose to do things differently with my students. Um, just from even a safety standpoint, but also out of kindness to the horse. There was a lot of shoddy riding that got allowed. And I really firmly believe that as a rider, each of us needs to be evaluating our riding, having our riding evaluated by others, and we need to be improving. It's never ending self improvement. And while I see a lot of hate in the horse world, I don't want to be coming at it from a hate perspective. I really would like to be able to, in time, receive videos or video suggestions and, give my opinion or critique those. But for right now, I wanted to start with me because before I should ever tell anybody else how to do things, I would definitely like to show you what I would have done better had I have gotten a little more, clear instruction or coaching. So, John Lyons said that the only two emotions that belong in the saddle are a sense of humor and patience. So we're going to have a little fun with the sense of humor part right now because, whew, hot mess. I have many that are worse, but I am only going to show you two today. So let's see if I can hold these up where you can see them. So, get the glare off. This is my mare Josie, and she's cute. She's typically fat and easily sunburnt, so you'll see there's some skin irritation going on there. I don't know if you can tell that. I always received high awards for just keeping her clean and keeping her tack in nice condition. I always had bonus points. If you aren't familiar with Pony Club, the horse management score is as important as your riding, if not more so in a lot of ways, because you can control your horse management and you can absolutely get a perfect score if you really work at it. Versus your riding, there's a part of it that's up to chance and up to your horse. So I got excellent scores on my horse keeping. Although I hate the boots that my poor horse is wearing. They're ugly, and I'm not really sure why I felt that she needed that much leg protection in a small jumping class, but I was green. I didn't know any better. So, on that note, I don't love my fleece girth. It's kind of ugly. Maybe for a show, I would have gone with just a plain leather girth. It would have looked a little nicer. Final note on tack that I will make is I have no idea why I was riding in a figure eight noseband. My horse did not need a figure eight noseband. She was never trying to get away from my hand, and she actually was quite soft. Um, at first, we were both very uneducated, so there was some tug of war, and I just don't know why we went with the figure eight noseband. I don't think it was necessary. If it's not necessary, don't use it. And frankly, I don't think any noseband should ever be used to clamp a horse's mouth shut, but, live and learn. So the first thing you might notice about this photo is that my horse's knees are pointed directly down to the ground, to the jump rail. She's not tucking her knees up in front of her. That's partially because she's green, partially because she's not educated properly, partially because I put her to the jumps wrong. There's just a lot of things in the approach that kind of went funky. The landing was often very rough for us too, because if you notice in my position, While my upper body is up and over my knees, so I'm with her pretty well right here, her motion. You see my foot is turned out and I'm bracing on my stirrup. That's in anticipation of falling behind as she's in flight. Every fence without fail, I would fall behind her motion. And this leads me to collapsing back on the saddle, which I'll show you in a moment. Oftentimes hitting the reins. I learned to compensate usually by opening my hands. So I just rode around the course often with very, very long, sloppy, loose reins because I was trying not to hit my horse in the mouth while riding in bad balance. So as as an instructor myself, I would probably insist that my student work more on grids, ground poles, small cavaletti, just trotting over poles in good balance before going to a show and jumping jumps. It just, it's accidental abuse. I wasn't intending to hurt my horse, but with every single jump, I was falling on her back, hitting the reins, and often making her jump very awkwardly. She's very awkward here. You can see this. So next thing I noticed, my eyes are up really well. I like that. My head's up. I'm looking where I'm going. You can tell exactly where my next fence is just based on my gaze, so that's good. Here, I've got my hands forward well enough at the moment, but once she starts to really fly over that jump, her nose is going to need to extend forward. She's got her neck kind of flexed at the pole still. So she's going to take that slack out because I'm not releasing far enough. I've got a short, what you'd call a crest or a main release. That's fine over smaller jumps, but my horse had a lot of head movement, mostly because she was being put to the jumps awkwardly. So she really needed to swing that head as a counterbalance to get herself over and land on her feet. So maybe I'd work a little more on a longer crest release if that's what I needed for support, just to help her have that freedom of her movement with her head and not hit the reins. So all in all, this isn't the most horrible moment. It's a better moment in an awkward jump. I wish I had the flight from this particular jump, but I don't have that photo. I do have lots of series, which is incredibly helpful if you don't have video that you can slow down. Having a professional photographer slow-mo, take like 5 photos in a series is very helpful. So here we are at that flight phase on a different fence. As you can see, her knees have come up a little bit better. She's trying, poor Josie. God bless her heart. She's trying, despite my failures, to carry us both nicely over this jump. So she's making a good effort. These aren't huge, but it's enough that she had to, actually put a little effort in. Here she has extended her face forward a little bit, starting to use her neck to, stretch down and around that jump. And you can see there's a good bit of slack in my reins. So this one, the reins didn't get hit too bad in this phase. But what you will notice that I detest is, do you see how I'm already, try to get that close and clear, I'm sitting in the saddle. Okay, in jumping, there's 2 cardinal sins. You don't hit the horse in the mouth and you don't touch their back. That's literally the most important part about jumping. You don't touch the mouth, you don't touch the back. So because I was unable to stay in balance with my horse throughout the entire fence, about mid-fence, this is what happens. I'd fall back onto the saddle. You see my back is rounded a little bit too. That's not just my shirt blowing in the wind. That's me rounding my back, trying to stay with her, trying desperately to get my center of gravity over her center of gravity. But it's too late. I've fallen behind. I'm starting to sit on the saddle. My leg looks great other than the fact that it's in front of my shoulders. So again, ground pole work, small cavaletti would have been very helpful for me to learn to balance better, longer. I thought a fairly decent takeoff on a lot of these photos from this particular jumping event. But it's just mid-jump, I would lose my momentum. I'd fall behind her and sit on the saddle. So not fantastic, right? Let's see if I can get this in focus here. Again, you can see my eyes are up. I'm looking where I'm going, so that's good. This moment, my reins are still soft, but again, I feel like my upper body needs to come more forward up over my knees. I need to get my butt out of the saddle, and all of that would just move my hands up her neck a little bit further. Since I wasn't clearly balanced enough to do an automatic release, a crest release or a main release is the best option. But I need to move my hands further up her neck so that on the landing, as her neck stretches down to recover, I don't lose that slack and end up hitting her in the mouth. I like that my foot isn't too terribly far jammed in the stirrup. It's balanced across the ball of my foot. My toes aren't cranked out to the sides like they were on the takeoff of the other fence. So overall, I like my lower leg. It's not too bad. I've got good contact with my calf. My foot's neither turned out too drastically. It's not turned in too drastically. But I just need to find a way to get my seat up and out of that saddle and balance over the balls of my feet and over my knees so that I don't fall back onto her back as she's landing. So there you go. There's a little short critique of years and years ago. I'm trying to figure out what year this was. 2009. One of my first ever jumping events, period, let alone with this horse who was, I believe, 4 years old here, quite young. Again, lots of things I would be doing differently. Knowing what I know now about equine development, the ages that their joints finish growing, I really would have slowed things down. The two of us just work on walk, trot, canter, and balance, building a better seat, trotting over small rails, maybe small cross rails, until I could hold that 2-point without ever falling back on her back, without the need to launch my upper body forward at the beginning of the jump in order to try to compensate for the falling behind part. So, lessons learned. If you have any questions at all about how to overcome an issue like this, if you feel yourself similarly falling back on the saddle mid-jump or hitting your horse in the mouth, I would be happy to discuss ways you can work on that and improve it. And so hopefully we'll be able to do this again soon and critique another set of photos. I would really love to get some videos of myself and be able to work on that with you guys so that we can kind of discuss together what I can do better and see in real time how to improve little issues that you might come across. So hope that helps.